Hello, it's Claire from Angelic Scalliwags. Welcome back to my channel, where I share bits and bobs about my life as a homeschool mum of 5, master's student in childhood and youth studies, occasional blogger and owner of a fledgling art business, all of which I do from home, which is a 250-year-old quirky cottage, complete with beams and many unusual nooks and crannies. It is absolutely my favourite place to be. In this video, I will be making some melted beeswax candles, rolled beeswax candles, and some beeswax alternative to tea lights, and a firelighter candle. The first candle is to refill a jar that my youngest daughter Becca bought me when she was just 5 or 6. I don't know about you, but I have a thing about love and love hearts. They are strewn around our cottage with wild abandon. The jar was empty when she gave it to me, but I have kept it filled with homemade beeswax candles ever since. I don't really follow any recipe, but probably use about 1/3 of soya wax and 2/3 beeswax, which I add essential oil to once melted. Back in the olden days when I was a nurse, I completed my aromatherapy and massage diploma and have enjoyed dabbling in essential oils ever since. I'm going to take it to the kitchen now and use the double burner to melt the wax. I'm currently home alone. The rest of the family are barn dancing. Well, Gary's in the band, so there's no dancing for him. As you may know, I'm a huge introvert, and a night crafting by myself was too good an opportunity to turn down. The rain is pattering on the roof of my studio. It's dark outside, and I'm warm and cosy and creating. Does life get any better? I keep this candle in our cottage bathroom, and it is scented with a mixture of ylang ylang, lavender and tea tree oil. I have a pack of wicks that I use just for this candle, and I'm adding one with the metal thing that holds it in place. Once poured, I shall pop it to the side to harden, chopping up if there's any shrinkage. Having melted the wax, I'm going to add about 10 or so drops of each oil. Actually, I'm clueless about how many I add. I just sort of shake the bottle randomly. We're currently redecorating our bathroom, so redoing this candle has come at the perfect time. I'm really excited to show you all once it's finished. We bought an old oak dresser top from eBay for just £5, which I intend to rub down and paint with a sage green, and this candle will go perfectly on top of that. The next thing I'm going to do is roll some candles, and this is one of my favourite things in the world. I have lots of favourite things in the world. I'm looking at the outside of the packet here, and it's got kitty paw marks all over it, which is slightly odd because I keep that on a bookcase where there's absolutely no way a cat could get to it to leave their footprint, so I have no idea how that's managed to get on there. If you've never tried this before, you really need to. If you're somebody who's looking to start crafting and you've never really crafted before, rolling candles has to be the best way to go because it is so simple. It creates the most beautiful products, and it's so tactile and textural, and it just feels so good, and it's so relaxing. So go and get yourself some wax sheets to roll your own candles, because honestly, you won't regret it. The first 2 candles I'm going to make are going to be to replace these pink ones in our Wee Willie Winky candle holders, and we keep these in our kitchen, on our kitchen window, which is our front window of our cottage, because I don't know if any of you know the legend of the Christmas candle, where the cobbler and his wife, they lived in a cottage on the outside of a village in Austria, and they were very poor, but every night they lit a candle and they put it out at the front window, and it was just to welcome strangers and have the heart of welcoming people into their home. The idea being that they didn't have much, but everything that they had, they would share. By keeping our candles on our front window is a reminder for me to share everything that we have and to welcome people into our home generously and unreservedly, I guess. So what I've just done here is I've just folded a sheet in half and I've cut it in half. And I'm lighting one of the pink candles because I use the heat from the candles to soften the wax, and it makes for a much easier and better job. This is what I've found anyway. I know lots of people use hair dryers, and if you have children, that's probably the safer way, the safe thing to use. Also, when you use candles, you need to be quite careful that you don't leave the wax over them too long, because otherwise they make a black mark. But nevertheless, I prefer using the candle to the hairdryer. So what I'm doing here is just folding over a small part of the end just to get a roll. And the key to making rolled candles is to make sure that you do it as tightly, you roll it as tightly as possible. And I have a few tricks that I use to do that, which I'll show you. So I'm just cutting the wick now. I keep a big roll of wick on hand because I make these fairly frequently. And I just cut the wick to the length I need. And I'm just folding it over the wick now. And at this point, you should be able to then start rolling it properly, and doing some tight rolls. So this is what I'm doing. I'm heating up the wax now. And that just softens it so that it makes the rolling much easier to do. So we're almost coming to the end here. You can see me really pushing down on it, and that's because I want to keep the roll so tight. And how you finish up, there you go, you can see that I've just actually held it too close to the flame and I've created a black mark there. But these are fine, I just use these in the house, so I'm not fussy. So having rolled it to the end, I'm now just going to heat right at the end there, the last little bit. And I heat this for a bit longer. So I go over twice. And then you use your thumb to sort of push it down and it moulds with the layer below. It's the coolest thing ever. It's like there isn't even a ending there anymore. You know, you can't see where the candle ends. It's just lovely. I love the feel of melted wax. So I'm going to make 2 of those, but I don't think I'm going to film the whole process again. I'll probably fast forward you. So this is you fast forwarded after I've made the 2 candles. So now you want to just check that the candles fit into the candle holder. Now I do these so often, I know that half a sheet fits these candle holders perfectly. But often if one side is too small, try the other end, because sometimes they're slightly different and it might work. So I've just snipped off the wick on the end that's sticking in there, and I'll also be cutting off the wick at the top there because it's a bit long and that can be quite dangerous, so I just snip it off. I'm going to do the same for the second candle. The next candle I want to roll is a candle to go in this little bird cage that I've had for a long time. And you're meant to put like a tea light in there, but I'm not that keen on tea lights actually. I don't think they last very long, and they're often very paraffin-y. So I wanted to see if I could make some tea light equivalents, but in rolled wax. I think it might be quite fiddly if I was to make one small tea light. So what I'm intending to do is sort of double up and make one that I can cut in half, if that makes sense. So these beeswax sheets you can cut to any shape or size that you want. It's so lovely to cut into. I think I must be a tactile person, because everything about this is very tactile and textural, and I really enjoy that side of this particular craft. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll a candle that is going to be twice the size, twice the height that I want it to be, and then I'm going to cut it in half. And I have two holders. I have the cage, but I also have a little tea light holder up in my upstairs loo, on the windowsill there, which I want to put the other half. I'm not sure if I'm making any sense, but you'll see it. Once I've done it, you'll see what I'm talking about. So the process is exactly the same as doing the taller candles, and probably is much easier actually, because it rolls much easier. It's going to be short and stumpy rather than long, so you can see already that it's rolling much easier than the taller ones did. So you can see here that I'm coming to the end of a sheet, but that the candle is not nearly thick enough to go into the container. So I've cut out in exactly the same width from the wax sheet. And I'm just going to show you now how to finish up one, which basically is the same as how you would finish up a candle. And then I'll show you how to join the other one so that there's negligible sign of any kind of joining. So you want to heat the wax edges so that you can push them down and merge them with the one underneath, which I showed you on the longer candles. I love doing this. I know I've said this before, but it's my favourite part to do. I don't know if you ever used to get the Edam cheese and the wax. I used to peel off the wax and then make it into nails, fake nails, and I just loved playing around with the wax. This is a bit like that. So what you want to do is you want to heat up the edge of the second sheet, a bit like you heated up the edge at the end there, so that it's quite melted. And you're doing the same thing, you're pushing it on and merging them together so that it's really imperceptible. The join you can't see at all. If it comes off like mine just came off, it might mean that you need to heat it a little bit more. And in fact, I'm going to do that now. So I don't know if you can see that, there's hardly a join there at all. And then you just start rolling it just like you did before. As you roll these up, you need to keep an eye on the size of the candle, the width of the candle, you don't want to over roll, and so you make a candle that's too big. just needs to slip into your candle holder, which mine is now perfect for that. So you'll see I'm going to cut off this wax, the end little bit here. And I shall keep that because I'll be making some firelighters from the end bits, because these sheets of wax are really expensive, so every single little bit counts. So here I'm just going to finish it like I did before. So heating it up so it's almost melted and then pressing down. As I said earlier, I want to be able to cut this candle into 2 separate candles, and I'm using a knife that my granny gave me many moons ago. It's a whopping great carving knife. I actually use it for my clay making, but it'll do it at a pinch here as well. Obviously you're going to have to cut the wick with a pair of scissors. There you go, 2 homemade tea lights made of lovely beeswax. I'm ridiculously pleased by how these have turned out, and I think that looks lovely. Isn't that lovely? Do you remember the little piece of wax that I cut off at the end of making those stubby candles? Well, don't ever throw away beeswax, because honestly it's so expensive, and these can be made into, really any small amount of it can be made into a candle, and I'm going to show you just that now. So these I use, I just pop these in a jar, and when we have blackouts I use them to light all the other candles from our gas cooker, and they're just like little matches, but they're perfect for blackouts because they last long enough for you to go around all the different candles that you want to light. And they're really cute, and you can tie them up in a little bundle and give them as presents. Kind of reminds me of a birthday candle, but I'm not sure you'd want to sort of push one of those into a cake. I mean, you could. I wouldn't though. There, how cute is that? Well, that's it for this week. If you enjoy this kind of content, please do like and subscribe, and leave a comment below. I love hearing from you, and I always reply to comments. I hope you have a wonderful week ahead, and don't forget to dream impossible dreams. Bye bye.